Alright fam, the name is Xander or R, and I'm here to bring you the Would You Read It challenge. I was tagged by Audrey over at Perpetual Pages, and the original is by Bear over at E2Brody. I will leave both of their links in the description down below, so go check them out because they're both really cool. I have these, so the point of the challenge is to read the first, I think it's supposed to be the first sentence, but I'm reading the first paragraph, because I already tried to do this once and I fucked it up. But anyway, I'm reading the first paragraph of all of my favorite books that I have picked out, and you guys can decide if you want to read it or not. I left out some of my favorite books just because I didn't want to, like, overwhelm you guys with obvious answers. And, you know, I had to pick some books because they're my brand, and then I picked other books because I just really like them. So, we'll see if you guys can guess which books are which. And if you can, let me know. And if you can't, let me know if you would read them anyway, if you haven't already read them. So anyway, I'm going to be reading the first paragraph, and then I will be showing you the book. And sorry that I don't have any fancy graphics or pictures of the words. I'm a pleb, so I'm literally just reading these out of my physical copies. So anyway, here we go. My father was a king and the son of kings. He was a short man, as most of us were, and built like a bull, all shoulders. He married my mother when she was 14, and sworn by the priestess to be fruitful. It was a good match. She was an only child, and her father's fortune would go to her husband. That's the Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Probably didn't guess that, because I forgot the first paragraph. Honestly, I read it and I was like, wow, I can't believe that's the first paragraph in this book. But yeah, that's Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Now the next one I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get, because it has a pretty iconic opening if you know the book. And even if you don't know the book, it has a character's name in it, so you'll probably know the book. Neil Jostin let his cigarette burn to the filter without taking a drag. He didn't want the nicotine, he wanted the acrid smoke that reminded him of his mother. If he inhaled slowly enough, he could almost taste the ghost of gasoline and fire. It was at once revolting and comforting, and it sent a sick shudder down his spine. The jolt went all the way to his fingertips, dislodging a clump of ash. It fell to the bleachers between his shoes and was whisked away by the wind. That was The Foxhole Court by Nora Sakavic. I mean, you probably guessed that one because it had Neil Jostin in the opening paragraph. But, you know, maybe you didn't know. Maybe you didn't know the main character's name and off the game. Who knows? So this next book starts with a letter, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna read you the first real paragraph in it that isn't a letter. The letter is fine, and it's like a good opening to the story, but like, I like the actual chapter better, so we're gonna read the actual chapter. Outbreaks of magic started all kinds of ways. Maybe a tank coming from the quarantine zone didn't get hosed down properly. Maybe, like some people said, the refugees brought it up for them from Atlantia. The virus hiding out in someone's blood or in a juicy peach pie. But when magic infected the slums of West Durham and the proud, sovereign nation of Carolinia, it didn't matter how it got there. Everyone still died. And that was The Fever King by Victoria Lee. Oh, I forgot I had this signed. That's so cute. Anyway, this one is so obvious. Look, I didn't want to be a half-blood. If you're reading this because you think you might be one, my advice is, close this book right now. Believe whatever lie your mom and dad told you about your birth and try to lead a normal life. And that is The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. Yeah, I know. You guys are going to read about how I died in agony and you're going to be like, wow, that sounds cool, Magnus. Can I die in agony too? And that's The Sword of Summer by Rick Riordan. I'm literally dying, I say, putting my hand on my heart. You're real. Juliet, having just escaped my hug, is smiling so hard it looks like she might tear her face in half. So are you, she says, and gestures to my body. This is so weird, but cool. I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. Sing Muse, he says, and the edge in his voice makes it clear that this is not a request. If I were minded to accede to his wish, I might say that he sharpens his tone on my name like a warrior drawing his dagger across a whetstone, preparing for the morning's battle. But I am not in the mood to be amused today. Perhaps he hasn't thought of what it's like to be me. Certainly he hasn't. Like all poets, he thinks only of himself. But it is surprising that he hasn't considered how many men there are like him every day, all demanding my unwavering attention and support. How much epic poetry does the world really need? 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. There was nothing quite like the first tick of a new heart. The silver ticker stuttered to life in Anna's palm, its metal pulse a metronome moving in time with her own clockwork heart. Tick, tick, tick. Tarnished Are the Stars by Rosie Thor. Steam belched and hissed. Sweat trickled down the back of my neck. Smog the Terrible was furious with me. What does it mean, filter error, I asked. Here, Mr. Apatan wiggled the hose where it fed into Smog's gleaming chrome back. The blinking red aerolite went dark. Better? Darius the Great is Not Okay by Adib Karim. In every known definition of the word, Wesley Hudson is officially offended by what he's just read. He closes the paperback and stuffs it into his backpack. He wants to scream. Where does she get this stuff? But what's the point? It's only him on a bench outside LAX's Tom Bradley International Terminal. The Summer of Everything by Julian Winters. The memo stank of barrel printing, ink, and bad news. Oh, it began with the usual hurrahs, our boys victorious and finally coming home, but it ordered me to banish 16 patients from my care by week's end. I didn't have 10 men who were safe to send home to their families. This could not stand, and I'd tell Matthew to her face. Witchmark by C.L. Polk. The antique watch was a fraud. Not crafted by some 18th century Swiss fella on a mountain, but by a surly doll in a dank room, swilling gin in tap water. Spellbind by Ali Thurin, which I only have on my Kindle, so I wasn't gonna try and show you guys the Kindle cover, because that just wouldn't have worked. So I hope you enjoyed it on the screen. And those are all of the books that I have picked out to read from. I did Spellbound last because it was on my Kindle and I didn't feel like shoving a Kindle book in with all my physical books. It's a lot more on brand than like Witchmark, say, which was the last physical book that I read. But you know, it'd be like that. So anyway, that is the challenge. I'm going to tag some people down in the description, so check the description to see if you're tagged. And if you're not in the description, you can say you're tagged anyway if you want to do this tag, because it's a really cool tag. And it's really easy. You just pull out books and read from them. Like, it's so easy. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.